it is the age of anthologies, and they are well and thriving. And in fact, we have a sequel to one of the most popular anthologies from Tamil, that is Putham Pudhu Kaalai, and this one is Putham Pudhu Kaalai Vidiyaadhaa, a question that we're all waiting to be answered. Meanwhile, I'm joined by these fabulous directors. Hello and welcome.
Hi.
Thank you, Shilpa.
Hi, fantastic to connect with all of you. Whenever I watch an anthology, I wonder, what is it that the directors would want at the end? Would you want a cohesive feel, or is it more fulfilling for you when you contribute to a project that is varied in types of genres? So when you join an anthology, what are you looking for? Madhumita, if I could start off with you, please.
I think as a director, when you're looking at a project is a project, whether it's a feature film or if it's a short, regardless of the medium that is going on. A film is a film, right? And what kind of story do you want to tell? As far as anthologies are concerned, I think it's in everybody's interest that all five relate to the audience in a way, because it is packaged with one theme. So I personally would not want just mine to stand out, because then, as a theme, it may not work. Because while the treatments and the style of filmmaking may be different from director to director, the overall theme of stories of feel-good stories, stories of love, friendship, all of that is the theme of the show in its entirety. So I think, while none of us, to be honest with you, none of us know of each other's story till we started, after the trailer and the media interviews and all of that. That's when we found out about each other's stories. So tab tak we did not know what each other's stories were. But nevertheless, the hope is that it works collectively as a film, and each is a cog in the whole wheel.
Is there any competitive spirit around here? Is there one director that you have like a friendly competition with?
Me? No, I'm very excited because, Surya and Richard, this is their first big debut on OTT. And Halita and me have been like, our films came out at the same time. Silakarpati and KD came out at the same time. And Balaji and I have interacted on multiple fronts. And, with every director, I've always believed, whether it's their first film or their 100th film, there's always something new to learn from the treatment. So I'm looking forward and excited just as much as the audience to watch the film. So no, the answer is there is no healthy or unhealthy competition here, and I think I speak for everyone here.
Maybe that's competition with the previous season at least.
That's your competition, is it? I still remember the previous season. It got some mixed reviews, but I remember it because we don't have so many stories about the pandemic, right? So even though if for some reason it's quite indelible in my memory. So Surya, it's interesting you speak about the previous one. So I'll put you on the spot. Which stories do you like the best from the previous one?
Well, to talk it as a whole, I think at a whole, in an entire perspective, the film worked in some way. I can't say that particularly this one worked or this one didn't work, because what we are talking about right now is about that Vidiyaadhaa should work out, not just one particular film. And maybe the films will be in the ranks, have to be there, but then the entire season has to work.
Okay. The rumba diplomatic, and I feel like the one person who will not be diplomatic, I hope, is Balaji, Mohan. And Balaji, please tell me, like your films, you are not diplomatic as well.
What is the question?
She's conveniently ignoring your question now.
Which among these directors do you not get along with? I was asking. Like, whose name did you see and be like, I don't want to be part of this anthology?
No, but that didn't happen because first of all, we didn't know who else was part of the anthology when we started off. For some reason, it was very secretive, and only while closer to production, we got to find out who else was making the other films. And we still, as Madhumita told, we still haven't seen each other's films at all as well. And the only person whose work I've not seen till now, previous work I've not seen till now, is Surya's, because it's his first releasing work. All the other three directors, their previous work I like a lot. I love Halita's Silakarpati. I love Madhumita's KD and Richard's Bloom short film as well. So it was a very interesting mix of filmmakers that was put together. And for me, to answer your previous question as to what you expect as a whole when you're a part of an anthology, for me, I would like all the films to be different from each other at least, so that as a cohesive whole, people get to take away multiple different things rather than, you know, two similar things or three similar kind of films, although the theme is the same. So that's what I was looking for, and from the mix of filmmakers that Amazon has picked, it looks like that will anyways happen because they're all very distinct voices. And although I haven't seen the films yet, I can, even from the trailers, I can already see that it's going to be, at least the films will be very different. Different people might like different films, but for sure, all the 5 films are going to be very distinct and different, is what I expect.
Well, that is an expectation I have as well as a viewer. Our new age directors who steer clear of stereotypes. And that is something, that is so essential when you're stuck at home watching something, watching things days on end. So Richard, I want to ask you, when it comes to this heartwarming genre, what is the one thing that you want to avoid because you don't like watching?
For heartwarming things, I don't know if it's. See, I think ultimately, I personally, it's a personal choice that I always like any stories to end with a very, very happy space. I am that kind. So yes, that's how I see it. So I don't really, really look forward to something. I'm okay with the predictability. That's where it's ending. I'm happy with, but I'm curious to see how it unfolds and stuff like that, right? So I'm one of those. So I prefer that. So I don't really have a problem with heartwarming. I think. Plus, also, I think when the times are happening, when this whole pandemic, at least when we're talking about this particular topic, right? When you're talking about pandemic and stuff, it's only right and fair to talk about something more heartwarming and hope, right? We don't really want to talk about the horror that we went through that time, So I think it makes more sense to have a more heartwarming film based on this.
Fair enough. I mean, I want to clarify that I'm not against heartwarming of films at all. I don't want people to think, oh my God, she doesn't like happy stories. No, that's not true. I was just saying it's kind of reassuring to watch all these thrillers and horror stories because that feels closer home. You're like, okay, at least my life is not that bad. But when you watch such a heartwarming story, I don't know why they say feel good, because you just feel bad at the end of it. Like, I'm just stuck at home with COVID, now this is happening. Halita, do you agree with me? Or like Richard, is heartwarming your genre as well?
Yeah, I'm trying to agree with you because, like as you said, like there are some series that I don't want to watch the next season of it because I don't want the characters to be, kept on adding. Like I want to remain in that. But I to your point, right? I don't think this series is like a feel goody thing. Yeah, so I think it has like bittersweet. It has rants. No, there are rants and existential crisis in the conversation that people have in the movie. So I don't think you'll feel better. Like it's relatable. It's not like, oh, their life is good and mine is not.
A lot of films, even now, the ones that went into production now after the pandemic, they decided to ignore the whole COVID aspect. They said we want to keep our films timeless. We don't, I feel like that's very optimistic because they thought the pandemic would just be half a year or a year in year 3. But when you do like a project like this, right, where it is all about COVID, you've accepted it, you're talking about reality. Did you ever hesitate as directors? Like, did you also be like, no, my work must be classic and untouched and should be watched anytime from 1800 to to 2300? Did you want that, or were you happy to make something that was better?
Yeah, character in my film talks like, no, the films don't make sense anymore, the ones before pandemic, because that world doesn't exist anymore and we've come to a new world. So I stopped watching movies. She says that. Okay. So it's a little part of me talking that. Yeah, because I don't know, I don't know what's there's a lot of uncertainty around it. Even the numbers today are alarming, right? So I don't know, let's hope for the positivity, but then right now, there's new experiences and stories that needs to be said right now that's happening. Okay. So I think we've all of us have come together to talk about that.
I completely agree with you, because I want to see my life being mirrored on screen. That's always fun, right? When you, I don't know, it's more relatable. I don't know, makes you want to watch it more. So, what was the one aspect of the pandemic that you wanted to kind of explore, that you thought would be good to explore on screen, Balaji?
Yeah, I think all of us must have chosen that as in one aspect of the COVID situation that each of us wanted to represent. So what I picked is the two lead characters are the frontline workers. They're two young police constables who are manning the barricades and the checkpoints that are stopping people from coming out in the city areas. So I think the pandemic sort of separated people into two, where people who were sitting at home stuck, facing a different kind of problem, and the other, the frontline workers who were right in the battlefield, facing the virus and the problems. So, so I wanted to sort of explore the little happiness, the little joys that these frontline workers, these police constables look for to sort of help them get through this very difficult, this very grueling, tiring, and sometimes thankless job that they have been doing over the past 2 years. So that was the story that I wanted to pick up. And I wanted to not only see the technicalities of their job, but the little things like, for example, where would they find food when they're on the road 24/7? Where would they sit and eat? What would be their little joys in the middle of this? And what if there's a little love story that brews between these characters? So that was the lens that I sort of chose to look into.
I always look forward to whatever you have to offer, Balaji, because I keep
Thank
repeat
you.
watching everything that you make, and that's the same for Madhumita as well, who has, when I saw the poster of KD and I heard the story again, because me being me, I was like, is this too hard for me? And then everyone insisted, no, you must watch it, and I've watched it twice, and I made people
Thank you.
watch it as well.
Thank you. Thank you. That's very kind of you.
I'm sure you get this all the time, Madhumita. So this is a genre that you know very well, and you definitely steer clear of all those tropes, and you somehow manage to make something that's really warm, and always it looks like a small film with a big heart. This is a very small one, I think. So I think the heart is going to be bigger this time.
I think you're right about that, and that's one of the things that I'm, conscious about changing. Is like, once people have seen KD, immediately there's a certain, with directors, it's always a box that you're fit into, saying that this is the kind of films that he or she makes. So after KD, I was quite conscious. I was signed to direct a psychological thriller. Then I have a monster film that's being written right now, and then a complete action film, a film that's completely male testosterone kind of, so I have all these different things that are in the works. But it just so happened that, Putham Pudhu Kaalai happened, Vidiyaadhaa happened, and, the story had to be a heartwarming story. As far as my story is concerned, yes, it is heartwarming. And like Balaji was saying, each of us have our own different take on this pandemic. And for me, what was interesting that I wanted to share with the world was the curiosity of what happens inside four walls. During the pandemic, I think a lot of us had a lot of time to think about our relationships and our, with friends, with family, with people we were living with people we were far away from. It made us evaluate and reevaluate our relationships. And so the question then became, what about two people, middle-aged couple who live, played by Mr. Jojo George and Nadia ma'am? And what about if they were inside four walls? What if walls could talk? And how do they handle the how does communication play a part? And so that's what my film is about. And yes, after this, definitely, I promise you, and I'm sure this is going to bring you a lot of happiness, is my next one is definitely not going to be heartwarming. It's definitely not going to be feel good.
I like it when you do it, trust me.
No, I love it. But like I said, I think I would like to believe that I'm genre agnostic, and not locked into one genre. So, which is why I like to keep challenging myself to do different things. So, but definitely Putham Pudhu Kaalai Vidiyaadhaa, even within that heartwarming space, we've tried a very unique treatment to see if, you know, we can still communicate to the audience. So I'm waiting to see what the audience and you have to say about it.
You know, you've already cracked it, so you know, I'm just looking forward to it. Things about them, but no, the pandemic, you don't have to see them for some time. So, like, genuinely, how does it feel to be a part of this roster? And did you do like some extra thinking to make sure, you know, or does my story match up to their standards, or you know, did you not let any of that put pressure on you?
To be honest, I think initially I didn't know who were part of this. That's one thing to start with. But as I was curious to know what the lineup was, of course, because I wanted to know what it is. But in my case, even if it was fresh filmmakers, whoever there was, there's a lot of pressure because it's something that I'm doing for the first time, right? So the only way I can do something good is to focus on what I'm trying to do and really, really make sure what I'm doing is, works out. First, primarily it's for the studio, then it works out for the audience. So my focus was mostly there. And when, to be honest, like I knew the names were involved after a point when through the process, but I was super excited because I didn't know what each one was making up. But till then, it was only my film. I was just keeping on watching my film multiple times, million times, and figuring out how else I can change the film. And because I get too fidgety, I like doing this and changing and a lot of things. But my hands were tied. I can't do much of changes after a point. So I was just sitting patiently waiting what the other films are like. When I saw the trailer, it felt like I was very happy indeed. It was like, then it felt like a movie. It felt like an overall film. Then I'm just a part of it, right? You know, till then it was just one film I was focusing on. Then it just felt like, oh, I want this whole series. Like, I'm very excited to see what this is about and stuff, right? So I was very curious, like when I see it, like, and through the last couple of days of interviews and stuff, when I come to know what each one has done a little bit here and there, I'm even more excited. Like, oh, they'll be more imaginative in what they've approached. I'm like, what have I done? You know, it's something like that. Like, especially when Balaji, so when his particular story and he talks about, I'm like, that's very cool. Like, did I even not think about that? You know, something like that. So only now it starts coming, which is a good thing. I feel if I had known this much earlier, I would have been double guessing about whatever I was doing. You know, so it's good that I went with my flow and did what I could do my best. Now it's nice. This is all I've done. So let's see how it's received. So, but there's no pressure when I was doing the process.
Okay.
Now I'm happily excited to see what they've done. So,
I think all this pressure is only journalists asking you, is there pressure? Is there pressure? Like you have to say, no, there is pressure. Otherwise, you know, you're wondering what is the other directors think. You're like, it's okay.
Look, I honestly didn't have the pressure. As I said, I didn't go through the process. Actually, the pressure for me was to make sure that I do a good job, and that was the pressure I had for myself. You know, so.
I get it. That's very honest, and I agree with you. Listening to all of them talk about their stories and how they came up with it and the thought that went behind it. You know, I am also doubly excited after the trailer to find out what's in store for me. Surya, what about you? You know, do you echo Richard's sentiments? Your first big break in the middle of a pandemic. Surely there must have been some challenges.
It is a break, but then before this break happened, so I was doing something else. I was working on another project, bigger one, and I was the first CD on that. And then suddenly some things happened, and I had to get into this. And then, sorry,
was this Ponniyin Selvan?
No. Richard was part of my project. I am part of Pushkar and Gayatri team. So we were doing something else, and then just for 10-15 days, like exactly 13 days before shoot, I got into this one and I was asked to direct this film. And then to sink in everything, that was the first pressure. The first script had to sink into the mind. What does the writer wants to say? What is this film about? What is the ideology behind this? So to get the core, it took me some time. It took me like 7-8 days. And then came everything else, like what shot? Okay, now we have the actors, we have the song, we have everything. Everything was ready there. I just had to, okay, let's do this. So to get that direction right was the most important part. That was the pressure over there. To get the script into my mind and to get what the script wanted. So there was this small dilemma of are we doing it right or not? That was always there because I thought the script didn't sink in yet into my mind is what I was thinking towards the end of shoot at least. So after a point, it just okay. We don't have a choice. So you got into it. You got into it. Just do whatever you want to do. And I think that's about it. That's what came out.
I think directors would love years and years of pre-production so that the script is like totally seeped into their skin. So I can understand what you mean. But from what I can see, you've all done a fabulous job. So no worries there. Thank you so much. And please take care. Stay safe. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Shilpa. Take care. Bye-bye.